Dying Light has some awesome weapons. The anti-gatoid gun, the chicken on a stick, the grappling hook. But what's one thing that all these weapons have in common? None of them are better than these things. That's right, I'm gonna be playing through Dying Light using nothing. I know what you're thinking, this guy is just gonna max out his legend levels to make his punches do insane damage, right? Nope. I'm not allowing myself to use any legend levels to make this challenge way more difficult, along with all the other things you see on screen. So yeah, stick around kids, you won't want to miss this one. As is the case with every new challenge, we're dropped into Haran and immediately watch this dude Amir get Yu-Gi-Oh! Obliterated by the zombies. This has no connection to the challenge itself, but I am always taken aback by just how fast things went south here. Crane really is the harbinger of death, I tell you what. Before we go speed running through the rest of the prologue, I decide to sit down and take the time to plan out which skills I want to get for the playthrough. With this challenge, anything at all regarding a weapon is out of the equation, so I'll just mark those off. There we go. But there are a few options for us that will make some great additions as things progress. Interestingly enough, some perks that you almost always want to get are rendered entirely useless, like the backpack perks. And needless to say, there's a couple of skills that will be absolutely essential to allow us to progress. Playing Dying Light without using weapons just feels wrong. It's like running a marathon in flip-flops or eating soup with a fork. I just simply feel I don't have the right tools for the job. Look at how long it takes me to kill this one zombie. Once I'm leveled up enough to get grapple throw or ram, things might be different, but for now, all I have is good old thunder, lightning, and cool breeze or something. I don't know. I'm not good at naming things, okay? Leave me alone. So keeping all that in mind, I try to get as much free XP as possible when it's presented to me. If I see a group of zombies around a spike wall, I'm gonna make the most I can out of it. Until I get grappled, the best way I have of doing this is to hit them once and then have them walk into spikes on their own, or jump on their head, or kick their head to knock them into it. Otherwise, it's a massive pain to punch them without them trying to grab and bite me. Interestingly enough, I found that if I punch them, they're almost guaranteed to go into a grapple attempt, which, as we all know, is a death sentence on Nightmare for a brand new little baby Kyle Crane. So I'm gonna have to find more effective methods of dealing damage and fast. I make my way through the rest of the prologue, flipping switches like a madman, until I get to my fight with... In my last challenge, I was unable to defeat Jeffrey, so this time I was more than determined to even out the score. Unlike my last challenge, however, I have an infinite amount of attacks that I can do this time, so long as I have stamina, so I get straight to wailing on him. It's the fight of the century, bigger than any Conor McGregor fight you've seen in recent history. Jeffrey gets a couple solid overhead attacks on me, but I get about 100 on him. No, seriously, I think I actually hit him about 100 times. The fight is a long and gruesome one, and he even tried to cheat by sicking his henchmen on me. But after about 10 minutes and one whole power level up later, I finally land the finishing blow, making the score 1-1. GG's, Jeffrey. Good luck on our next fight. Now that I've absolutely destroyed Jeffrey, I make my way back to the first safe house before night arrives. I throw my power skill point into getting kick stun, and after sleeping, unlock the ability to equip different outfits. By far the best outfit to equip in my opinion is the Winter Warrior outfit that allows you to get 20% more XP in every skill. There are a couple others that I was thinking of using, most notably of the bunch being the Shoe Warrior outfit that reduces the chances of you being harassed by a zombie, but I decided since I won't be allowing myself to grind the stuffed turtle, the Winter Warrior outfit will be the next best thing for me. Continuing on now with the story, I head back to talk to Spike and then go to save Brecken since his night mission failed and everyone needs Antizin. You see, Brecken had AirPods in or something during his mission and got whacked upside the head by one of Rise's thugs, and now he has about 3 different kinds of brain swelling. Since, again, I'm not allowing myself to grind the stuffed turtle, doing the missions is by far the best source of XP along with airdrops, which leads me right into the Ghazi quest to get Brecken some anti-seizure medicine. Yeah, it actually just occurred to me, but you're able to just entirely skip out on this mission if you want, giving the big ol' middle finger to Brecken. Yeah, I know you need some anti-seizure medicine, but
Nope.
This has nothing to do with the challenge itself, but let me tell you a little trick for the Mother's Day quest. After talking to Ghazi, picking up the chocolates in the movie, and then returning, Ghazi takes it and we're supposed to let ourselves in by climbing up and over the underside of this bridge to get to the top of his house. But you don't have to do any of that. Watch this. And remember everyone, say it with me now, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. Proceeding with more side quests, I would like to test out the combat with human enemies while using no weapons. So I go start the Goodnight Mr. Bahir questline, where we find this guy on the floor dying after taking Symphony Antizin. I sprint as fast as I possibly can upstairs to the cellar, a guy named Yusuf who looks like he's about to turn into a Ninja Turtle, and he directs me to these lovely gentlemen who don't take too kindly to being told to stop doing what they're doing. It's at this point that I get our first major perk of the challenge, the ever-beloved drop kick. This will come in so handy later, and I immediately use it in this scenario to throw this guy to the zombies below. But quickly I find that fighting these guys while low level and with little to no skills is simply not a good idea. They don't stagger basically at all, so if I hit them, I'm instantly met with a counterattack that takes half my health and damage. I tried everything I could before getting grabbed and killed by a zombie, so I decided to shelf this for a bit later when I've unlocked more skills. A great way to get XP the fastest is by running around and doing things during the night, but in order to do that, you need to have it, unlocked. So I get started doing that, making sure to clear any and all save zones I pass along the way. It takes a very long time, but eventually I do clear the zombies inside them. At this point in the game, it takes about 100 punches to kill a single anything, so the grapple perk that I just unlocked is going to be a huge help, allowing me to throw the zombies onto objects they can't figure out how to stand up on to kill them. Another thing I noticed, by the way, even if you don't have the head stomp ability yet, if you let a prone zombie grab you and then spam the button correctly, you'll do a free head stomp, instant killing the zombie. I used this trick a few times during this run, and it was super helpful. Now that night's available, it's time to show up to Rise's garrison to start the chore list that he wants me to do. So this was the strangest thing to me, and I still to this day don't understand what happened here. As you can see, I clearly don't have the car explosion ability thing, and this isn't one of those trap cars that Spike set up around the city. Just go ahead and watch it real fast. So, can someone tell me how me jumping on it and letting it honk its horn a few times blew me up? Like, what the heck, man? Other than that, I guess, nothing was super out of the ordinary. I had the thug light this oil spill, summon the toad, kicked the toad into the fire, and then turned on the power. All in a day's work and whatnot. Everything else goes about as planned until I get to the fisherman's village. I swear I don't know what it was about this run, but everything was going wrong. I could swear that I've done this quest during the night before and nothing was weird, but this time around, things were so different. So there I was, using this campfire to kill the zombies, right? Just your plain, normal, everyday Dying Light gameplay. When out of nowhere, this viral shows up and starts a chase. That's no problem. I just chuck him in the fire as well, I thought at the time. But then another one showed up, and then another one. Now it's getting a little weird because I've got the gate closed, meaning there shouldn't be more getting in. But I'm not worried, I still have this situation under control. So pretty much the only other thing that I can do is run and hide until morning. I somehow even managed to kill one volatile. I think he just tripped and fell, but another spawned and that sealed the deal. I sat there until morning arrived, and after about 4,000 punches, I finally cleared the place and was allowed to see Firkin! My man, did you see that out there? That was crazy. I would love to say that after that whole thing, the rest of the mission would be a cakewalk. But after collecting from a few more people, it's now time for the fated Find the Patrol quest. He's that dude that shoots you from on top of the building where you're trying to find the envelope. Usually you just have to chuck a Molotov at the guy. What's he gonna do, shoot you? Pff, he's on fire, that's impossible. But with this challenge, I really don't have a solid course of action to take. At least, apart from one single thing. Dropkick.
Kareem, I think I found your lost patrol. Yes. Limb for limb.
Okay, that guy deserves a laugh track if nobody else. Imagine having a gun and getting punched to death by some random guy running around in the rain at nighttime with a winter camo outfit that you'd say in Modern Warfare 2. But alright, now I can say that things went smoothly from here. I returned to Rise with the stuff and proceed to do a bunch of side quests to level up.
It's blacker than your pants pocket over there.
After finishing the Infamy Bridge quest, I snagged myself the camouflage ability, and I don't think you need me to tell you just how good that perk is. We can't rely on it 100% of the time, but with it, sometimes we can avoid fights entirely. But my friends, sometimes there are fights that you can't avoid. I think it's time for revenge on Bento's group from earlier. After doing what I did to this guy, it gives me the same kind of idea for this group. So I head back and try my luck. I lure the first guy down, and after he survives getting impaled by spikes for some reason, take him out. Making my way into the main area, however, things start getting a bit more difficult. The strategy I had in mind won't work if there are multiple enemies, so I've got to find a way to take one of them out. Luckily, one followed me close enough to this stack of wood that I can knock him up onto it, and it works like a charm. Now, all I have to do is this. His other buddies are too distracted looking at zombies through the fence, so he's all alone here. It takes what feels like 45 minutes, but after an absolutely grueling amount of punches, I finally take out Bento and all of his crew. The rest of Act 1 goes incredibly well. I found a spot right next to Jeff's place that had a boatload of zombies, so I just sat there throwing them into spikes during the night over and over until I unlocked the Stomp ability, along the way also getting Sturdy, Power Attack, Tackle, and Ram. This took me a long time, but I didn't want to start the siblings quest without a foolproof way to take care of Rise's thugs. Thanks to the grind, the school level is actually pretty easily handled. I even got enough XP from finishing those random side quests to unlock the grappling hook, so things are going pretty well. The bolter, easy. Raheem, well, F's in chat for Raheem. Even the gunmen that are around when defending Zara's lab was nothing. I simply waited on top of this truck until he got close enough to fire and then drop-kicked him into it. Everyone else after that was hardly an issue. Unfortunately now though, it's time for... It's time for what's widely considered to be the most difficult part of the game, especially for challenges. Bosses are one thing, but when you have 50 gunmen shooting at you at the same time, not even a resistance booster is enough to save you. Normal enemies, no problem, but the second they obtain a gun, oh boy, you better watch out, because they'll pretty much instant kill you. To make this even harder on myself, I tried my best to not use a resistance booster. It's not against the challenge rules or anything, I just wanted to see how difficult this would be without them. If I'm able to have the element of surprise on a gunman and they're alone, sometimes I would be fine. Like this guy, for example. I web zip over to him like Spider-Man to knock him prone and kill him. Same with these two, I'm able to single them out and take care of them while they're on the ground, but eventually I did get bored of waiting and decided to just use a resistance booster. This little strategy I came up with on the fly actually worked wonderfully, and since I did most of it without a resistance booster, it only took 3 deaths and about 10 minutes to complete. Hey, that's a new record for me. And now it's time for the moment we've all been waiting for. After waking in the pit, we're simply tasked with surviving the arena. It's no secret at this point, the normal zombies can be taken care of as easily as standing next to a spiky barrel. But the real issue is the Demolisher himself. A lot of effort and studying went into killing him with this challenge, because some things just refuse to work or do anything at all. First, I tried the good old monk-like flurry of blows. Nothing. Then I tried a flurry of kicks. Nothing. I even attempted the tried and true kick spam exploit, and it did absolutely nothing. Tackles, slide kicks, nothing seemed to work other than one decisive drop kick to the back that knocked off his armor. This opened up some other opportunities for me, even if not many of them. Punches still didn't seem to work, but rams did, along with kicks, the odd power attacks, and drop kicks. The method I went for this fight was to hit him into a wall, kick him about 7 times, then back away before he swung his arm around to hit me, simply because it did the most DPS output. I did this for so long. I even had it down to a science. You run towards him, then turn around to get him to charge at you. Kick his back about 7 or so times, and then repeat. I tried my best to refrain from drop kicking since doing so is just too risky. Sometimes he would stagger forward, but other times he could instantly turn around and smack you before you can get up. Near to the end, I had done this for so long, I was noticing little nuances with the Demolisher's animation patterns. Did you know that if you kick him right as he's about to swing, it'll interrupt him, allowing you to get an extra 1 kick, sometimes even 2 in before he attacks? It's little stuff like that. This fight, I would say, wasn't even all that difficult, more so just tedious to do. It took me an hour to complete just because the kick does 1 damage per attack. I used a power attack to finish him off, but unfortunately, if I didn't have the dropkick ability, from what I could tell, this fight would have been impossible. But with him out of the way, I'm now finally able to make my way to Old Town, where even more difficult challenges await me. It's time to go get betrayed, yeah! I wanted to try again to kill all or as many of Rise's men as I could here without using resistance boosters, and here's the plan I came up with. Take them out one by one as they walk through this door. Hey, don't knock it till you try it. It actually worked really well. A slide to knock them off their feet, followed by a swift kick in the butt is apparently all it takes. The other ones, however, weren't nearly as simple. These guys are best friends. They do everything together and then somehow get even stronger when they're alone. At the very least, I can say I only died twice to these dudes, but I was really hoping to get through without even one death. I'm finally in Old Town. Or Sector 0, or whatever the heck you call this place. And, well, I think Crane here says it best.
Okay, here goes nothing.
There are some seriously crazy enemies here waiting for me, including about 1 billion gunmen, new zombies, and the seriously challenging Tahir fight. So I better get started. First things first, the obligatory game of where's Jade? Where is she? Is she over there? I have no idea where to find her. Well, she isn't at the university. Guess I'll give up forever. I've searched one location and I'm all out of ideas.
Get back here. You have to see this.
Alright, I'm on my way. Who's gonna win, the thug or the zombies? It's a close match. He's getting grabbed and... oh, there he goes. But seriously, after a quick trip to the other side of the bridge to get some medkits, it's time to blow up another building. Yeah, there's a lot of building blow up in this game. The first level is relatively easy. I kinda just stand on top of this table and bust some heads when they come close enough. I even managed to unlock the stun kill ability for more unique ways to kill the zombies. I'm also extremely happy to report that the stupid sneaky bomber they placed in this room didn't kill me this time, so that's a welcome first. The second floor, however, is usually where I have all the issues in this level. Other than the usual, natural selection. The endless supply of virals popping out of this hole in the wall is usually my downfall. For whatever reason, camouflage doesn't even seem to work against them, so I'm forced to take them out before focusing on the objective that gets interrupted if I get attacked. And don't even get me started on the screamer. In total, I died about 7 times here. I swear this place gets more and more difficult each time I do it. I've really got to find a way to ease things up for myself. It just feels like I'm doing something wrong. If you have any tips, feel free to let me know in the comments. All of you know what comes next, and boy was I not looking forward to this one. No amount of planning can prepare you when it comes to Rise's gunmen. With no weapons, I once again am going to have to rely on my strategy of picking them off when they're alone, if at all possible. I didn't even bother attempting this without boosters. I knew I would die pretty much immediately, especially when it came to the guys overhead. Since I don't have access to the grappling hook in this area, without a resistance booster, I wouldn't even be able to make it up to them before dying. They even killed me through the booster here. That's some insane damage. Luckily for me, the thugs in the next room over were an absolute pushover. I just employed the same strategy as earlier. I'm telling you, the slide technique works great. You'd be surprised at how often they land in a spot that they can't stand in and just die. As for all the rest of these guys, well, I just sprint past them. Killing them would just be a waste of time and resources, so after taking out these 2 dudes on top and the rest of the zombies below, it's time to head inside and... oh hey, I found her! There she is! Oddly enough, after finding her, I found out that I was actually killing more zombies than Jade was here. Usually it's the other way around, but I found that if I stand right in front of this bench and throw them under this, art, then they would land in the middle and just die. So I did that over and over until the room was cleared. Well, here we are. For those of you who thought the Demolisher would be the most difficult fight, you simply thought wrong. Tahir was an absolute menace to fight without weapons. Let me walk you through my process. I tried rushing him right out the gate and, well, that was a big mistake. Each time he hits you and knocks you to the ground, there's a pretty large chance he'll hit you again before you can get away, albeit at a lower amount of health since you have some sort of resistance when you're stunned. But let's watch that again. See how he did take damage after a moment? It's super weird, but Tahir only seems to take damage when his bones break, and rarely from the hit itself. We've already ruled out drop kicks as the main source of damage since it leaves you vulnerable to a counterattack, but here's where it gets really weird. Sometimes, even if it doesn't seem like you're hitting him, after a few seconds, his bones will snap for no reason and do a tiny bit of damage. This was the first phase of my attack strategy since kicks seem to do something to him, even if only 1 damage. I even discerned a pattern in his attacks and animations, optimizing the best way to kick him without him dodging or retaliating. Kick, jump back, step forward, repeat. It'll take forever, but it should work. The second form my strategy took was ramming into him and then backing up. Every time you do so, you have the chance to stun him and do some damage, while avoiding the hit he does after every attack. It was by far the safest of the strategies that I employed, but this is where something even more odd comes into play. For some reason, no matter how many times I hit Tahir after this point in his health with the kicking and ram strategies, he took not even a single health more in damage. What made matters worse was I didn't even realize he wasn't taking damage for like 5 minutes because of how little damage I was doing to him in the first place. I even tried restarting my game thinking it was a bug, and sadly that didn't change anything. It made me reevaluate everything about the fight a few times. Normal punches did nothing, drop kick was too dangerous, slide kick was worthless, but there was something in my arsenal I already tried but wasn't fully utilizing. No matter what attack you throw at Tahir, he really likes to dodge at the most random of times. But there are tiny little instances where you're able to land a strike, though it needs to be very precise. The skill of choice for me was power attack. The wind-up animation makes it really hard to land a hit for that frame when he's vulnerable, but if I'm able to, he gets sent reeling backwards. The power attack itself doesn't do great damage, but pair that with the random stun damage he takes, it can start to add up. But again, that's not even the final form of my strategy. What have games conditioned us as gamers to do when playing against an opponent? While there are a lot of answers, the most universal is to aim for the head, and that's precisely what I did here. When I got him into a corner, whenever Tahir would reel back, he would shove his whole face into the wall with a bunch of momentum and force, since he's trying to walk and not going anywhere, dealing him a crazy amount of damage, or at least it's a lot compared to what I was doing. Now I just need to do that about 300 times. If I can time my hits perfectly, I can keep him in a loop for a long time, but eventually I will run out of stamina. Then it's up to me to hit him right in that vulnerability frame again. If I miss, I have to go through the hassle of getting him stuck in that corner again. So I hit him again and again,
and again until we're both dead.
but eventually he escapes. He breaks free from my hold. To my surprise, however, I found something interesting. As I cowered in fear for my life behind this pillar in this corner, Tahir would always, 100% of the time, walk back to his box he came from, these sets of doors. The box he came from will essentially be his kill box now. With each hit, I knocked him further in, further sealing his fate. It felt like something straight out of a movie. My hard work was paying off, and if I could just keep focus, eventually his health bar would run out. So I stopped looking at chat, stopped talking, and focused. Yes! We got him!
Look at that. Jade lost her life.
Oh my god. So my reaction at the end should tell you everything you need to know, but that took me so long. I died 3 times, and it took me an hour and a half to beat him. You also may be wondering where his backup was, so to add on to the list of weird crap that's happened in this playthrough, after quitting and coming back mid-fight, Tahir's health was at 100%, but all of his thug henchmen were out and ready to fight. Not super sure what happened there, but who cares, it's in the past now, and we're finally able to proceed. As we all know, after the Tahir fight, things really start ramping down if you don't do any side quests. And me not using weapons doesn't mean a single thing, since you don't really have to fight for any of it. I go talk to Troy, go to the world that never was to restart the TV antenna so everyone in Haran can watch the next season of Cobra Kai. Then I kill this man with a plant, get the data to Camden, and then it's time for the long trek to the top of the tower for the sole purpose of punching Rise in the face.
How many lives depend on this disc? Hundreds? Thousands? Perhaps billions. Suleiman, he's dead. He died with his brother in this city. Know what suffering is.
Holy crap, I actually did it. I did the QTE first try. It only took me 5 Dying Light playthroughs, but I did it. And there you have it. I have completed Dying Light with no weapons on the hardest difficulty. This challenge, particularly the Tahir fight, was among the harder challenges we've done on the channel. If I had underprepared even once throughout the playthrough, I don't think I would have made it. I required every skill that I picked up along the way, and it was super interesting to see how connected they became to one another. From what I could tell at least, you couldn't finish the Demolisher fight without dropkick, but in that same regard, you couldn't finish the Tahir fight without power attack. It was super cool to see how they complemented each other so well throughout the game, and it really made me feel like a badass at times while playing, dishing out such domination on the enemy with only my bare hands and feet. To this day, I still don't think there's a better feeling in Dying Light than grapple throwing an enemy onto a table to kill them. On another topic, I'm not sure why there were so many weird things going on in this playthrough. There was even some stuff I didn't show you, like Crane's voice becoming all demonic and stuff. But they definitely made this a challenge that I won't be forgetting anytime soon. This was a ton of fun, and I definitely think you guys should try it yourself. So if you do, good night and good luck, everybody.